So now we're going to take a look as to how to add assignments from the Microsoft Education LTI to include reading progress, search coach, and math progress. So I'm going to go back to the home page of this course. And instead of going through the Microsoft LTI for this, we're going to go into the assignments feature. So obviously you want to be in your folder. So let's make believe we're going to create a reading assignment. So I'm going to be in ELAR, SLAR, and I'm going to put this into a reading practice folder. And in here, as you can see, I already have a French practice, but I want to do an English practice. So in order to do that, we're going to click on the Add Materials button. And instead of clicking on Add Assignment, we're going to scroll down on the right side to Microsoft Education right here. And you'll see a completely different window and things that you can do in this LTI. So obviously you can select files from your OneDrive. You can create assignments as if you were in Microsoft Teams. And you can even create a forms quiz. But underneath all that, we have our learning accelerators to include reading progress, math progress, speaker coach, and search progress. So let's start with a simple reading progress. This is where you can assign a reading passage to students. The students practice reading this, it records them and analyzes their fluency. And then you can also insert comprehension questions. Plus it has the reading coach for any words that they miss. So I'm going to go ahead and click on reading progress. And if you used reading progress before, this is the same screen you would get from Microsoft Teams. You're going to get the same screen here in the Microsoft Education Schoology app, or LTI. So from here, all you have to do from here is obviously import a passage that you have maybe on Word or PDF. You can go ahead and browse the sample library, which they have quite a few different options from ReadWorks all the way from kinder to secondary. And you can also use the AI to generate a reading passage on any topic and in any language. This is the only one. This and the import PDF is the only one you can bring in another language like Spanish or maybe French or Chinese Mandarin or whatever you need it to be. If you choose the browse sample library, then all the passages for the majority will be in English, but there will be some in Spanish as well. Those are the only two languages that you're able to bring from the sample library. That is creating a reading progress assignment. I'm going to create a quick one because there are some things that you have to do. So let's say I'm doing a first grade and I'm going to do crisscrosses the street. And obviously you're going to, it's going to give you the reading level if you select one of the ReadWorks passages. Then you need to decide how many attempts. And again, that could be unlimited. That could be 3 attempts. You can set a max time up to 10 minutes. And then if you're just reading for reading, but if you're reading for fluency, obviously you would set a 1 minute timer there. And then your pronunciation usually is set to default, and you can do less sensitive or more sensitive. And if you wanted to, you could add comprehension questions, and it'll generate questions for you. It'll read the passage and generate questions based on the passage. There'll be multiple choice and also open-ended. All right, and so from here, you can select to have the reading coach, where we do recommend the reading coach. There's also the comprehension. And then if you want the students to require video or not require video, that is up to you. You'll click on next. You will give it a title. Let's say reading practice week 12. Give it a date and time. Maybe you want this to be due at the end of the week. Time doesn't really matter. And if you want to take this as a grade, depending on, your grading for assignments and stuff. In elementary, we usually choose a 100, but in secondary, there are certain percentages for assignments, for tests, and for classwork. So I'm going to go ahead, and again, you can give it instructions for your students. You can even do video instructions if you wanted to as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And so now that created an assignment. If you were looking to grade this, you do have to make some adjustments here in the settings for the actual assignment. So I'm going to click the gear here and I'm going to go to edit. And so one thing we have to do is we do have to enable the grading. All right, so we need to make sure that that's enabled, the points, and you have to give it a category. So if that's going to be a new category, then down at the bottom you create a new one, and that could be reading practice, whatever you called it, week 12, then it is week 12, and then now you click Save Changes. And what this does, when you open the grade book, the assignment will be there at the end. So if you do take a grade on it, let's say you do the percentage, the reading percentage, then you can go ahead and get that as a grade, and it will show up in the Schoology grade book. It will not show up in Teams and Frontline Teams, but at least you can store it in Schoology and then move it over manually to Frontline Teams. All right, so that's how you create a reading assignment. Again, when you go to the LTI, you have other options. You can do a math progress assignment, you can do a speaker progress assignment, and you can even do search progress assignments. So that is how you go ahead and assign, and it goes directly into your Schoology course. As you can see here, when I go to ELAR and I have my reading practice folder, you can open up the assignment and see what that looks like. When you as a teacher opens it up after the students have read it, you will start seeing whether they've turned it in or not. And then you can click on the student and it will show you a full report of how that went, and you can return that to your students. So again, for assignments, for learning accelerators, you will go to Add Materials and click on the Microsoft Education LTI. If you have any questions on anything with the new Microsoft Education LTI and Schoology, please be sure to contact your instructional technology specialist.